Welcome to This Week in the PNFL. I'm your host, Mark Hill, and along for the ride this week is Mitch Grawl and Dean Chambers. How you doing, fellas?
Very good.
Fantastic, Mark. How are you?
Doing awesome. And we have a special guest with us today. We have in the house the Green Bay Packers head coach, all the way out from the West Coast. We got Shuggy joining us this evening. How you doing?
Not too bad. Looking forward to this.
All right. So before we get started, I want to wish all of my, as we're doing this on a Monday, I want to wish all of my fellow brothers in arms, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force, and the bastard child, the Coast Guard, or the stepchild, the Coast Guard. I want to wish all you guys a happy Veterans Day. I hope you guys had a good day. Also, take a moment to think about your brothers that you serve with, the ones that are still with us and the ones that are no longer with us. The ones that are no longer with us, just take a moment to, moment of silence, or like I do, took a shot of Jack Daniels for all my brothers that are no longer here. And for those that haven't served, or you guys kind of wonder what it's about, even though we don't, I don't know all the vets that are out there. I mean, obviously you can't, but on this day, I do like it because I can go into a store or go into a restaurant and I can see someone that's from the Vietnam era, or, younger kids from nowadays, or even a couple of World War II vets that are still around, or Korean War. And I can tell them, thank you for your service. And then they can look at me and we know, hey, brothers in arms. And it doesn't matter how old you are, what color you are, you're still brothers in arms. For the Marines that are out there, if we have any Marines out there, you guys send me a DM and I'll send you a free box of crayons. So that's an Army Marine. That's an Army Marine thing. So if you guys don't know, don't worry about it. And also want to tell my Chair Force, aka Air Force people out there, thank you. And with that, we are going to go ahead and pivot on over to our next portion as
Just
we
a quick comment, Mark.
do it now.
Just a quick comment regarding that. Excuse me. Regarding that shot of Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain phrase that gets said too often here on the show, and don't say it because I reference it. But if it gets said, I think it requires 3 shots of Jack Daniels on the part of the person that says it.
Well, I will have to go get my bottle. So I think when you guys are talking through the games, I think on the first one, I'll have you guys pass the commentary around to each other because I'm going to go run to the other room and go grab it. So
I think what Dean is saying is that the Marines are going to do some things.
So I think it should be mandatory 3 shots of Jack or 3 shots of whatever you have, and do the very audible ding, ding, ding on the bottle so we know you actually have the bottle.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you guys are doing, let me tell you what, I'm going to get started on this first show, the first game, and then you guys just kind of make it stretch. So, Mitch, you pass it over to Dean. Dean, you pass it over to Shuggy. Meanwhile, I'm going to have to go run and go grab my bottle. So, before we get into that, we're going to do our games, the previous week's games, and then in the middle segment, we're going to talk about what's going on within the league. Mitch mentioned some good things about the stats. Also the standings and such. And then in our third segment, we're going to go over the upcoming games. And then in our fourth segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the PCFL. There was a request to kind of shuffle it around a little bit. So we're going to push that over towards the end, and then we're going to wrap the show up. So with all that being said, we're going to jump into our first game, and then I'm going to go on my little quick mission. The first game up that we have is the New York Jets hosting the New York Giants. Actually, around the other way. The Giants were hosting the Jets, and I can't say what I want to say right now because I don't have it in front of me, but the Jets took this one 34-29. We're going to start with Mitch, and I'm going to go on my mission. Mitch, you're up.
All right. Well, I think the key to this game, the big difference, everyone, if you take a look at the stats here, is that the Jets scored 5 points more than the Giants. So that's what happened. No. Anyway, no, you look at these stats and whatnot. It gets confusing because both quarterbacks for both New York teams are last name Jones, so you have to double check and see which stat line you're looking at. But the Giants actually held up pretty good, I think, compared to what a lot of people are expecting in this game. Only, keeping it to a one-score game out there. It's so nice. Nice work for the Giants. But as always, the Jets find a way to do things that they do. So over to you, Dean.
Well, it was Daniel Jones that threw an interception here, although his stats were pretty good. Otherwise, 72% completions. He did not throw a touchdown pass. But we saw a rebound of the Giants' running game, which helped keep them in this game. Barkley scored 3 touchdown passes, and actually that made him the player of the game. 3 touchdown runs, rather. And that usually does. So, the Giants are pretty tough. They held the possession for almost as many minutes as the Jets did, and I'm not going to say that expression, but when you only win the game by 5 points compared to how the Jets usually perform, let's put it that way, I don't think the expression that I referred to really applies to this game. That was often said when the AFC New York team was dominating, and they won the game, but they didn't dominate it. The Giants were tough and covered the spread. So it's not something I don't think any of us had it on our bingo card that the Giants would be competitive in this game, especially with how they've looked in the last few weeks.
All right, Shuggy, what do you got? Real quick.
Oh, just said it's impressive that New York scored 29 points. I don't have all the stats exactly in front of me, but it never seems like people score a lot of points on the Jets. And so, for me, that's what stands out in this game.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely a good game. The Giants definitely put up the points, but in the end, the Jets do what the Jets do. There you go.
Email us all one.
Hooah, there you go. Next up, we have the Washington. Oh, damn, that was good. I'm going to get another one. All right, who's going to. Oh, there you go.
Mark's going to do some things.
Yeah, we're going to do some. Oh, we're going to do some things. All right, yeah, you guys going to notice by the end of the show, I'll be like, yeah, okay, guys. Yeah, Mitch, take us home. No. Anyway, next game up, we have the Washington Redskins hosting the New England Patriots. I think we talked about this one previously. We didn't know which New England team was going to show up, and we saw which one showed up. But Mox put up a good battle, but in the end, Washington was just a little bit too much. They took this one 31-16. Dean.
Well, we also found out which Washington team was going to show up, and namely it's the one that plays football the way Jerry wants his team to play. He says he wants them to score more than 20 and give up fewer than 20. They played good defense. They only gave up 16 points to the Patriots. They scored 31, and Murray was the player of the game with, he was 18 of 32, not bad, but he scored 2 touchdown passes. And Washington played good, balanced offense. They ran the ball for 135 yards, passed for 202 yards. They moved the ball. They were effective, converted most of their third downs, and had time of possession of almost half the game. So it worked, and they get a solid win.
All right. Shuggy.
Oh, okay. Mox. Come on, Mox. You and we got to start winning some more. Although you had a big win streak going on, didn't you?
Yeah. That's ancient history now, though. That's ancient history.
Huh?
That's ancient history now.
What,
yeah,
1 week old?
Yep,
When was
ancient
Colts?
history.
Yep.
He's
Oh,
back
that
to
was
being He's back to being Vanderbilt again.
hey, but it was a good battle though for most of the game. If I remember right. So
Oh yeah.
anyway,
Yep.
we'll get him back. Get him back, Mox.
All right, Mitch.
It may not be Vanderbilt. You might have to call them Florida State.
Oh, man,
Ouch.
that's terrible. Well, a few things stood out to me. One is that neither team knew how to kick a field goal. They were 1 for 5, so that was disappointing for all of you, soccer fans that are out there who watch the games. But also too, we've talked about on previous shows how a team with a 50% or so completion percentage, that's really not that bad as long as you are doing a lot more medium passes, etc. In fact, you might be better off to have a 50% completion with an average of 15 yards per completion. However, Mox took the strategy of I'm going to complete 50% of my passes and only average 4.8 yards. So that is not a winning combination. So I want to make sure everybody writes that down. That if you're going to only do 4.8 yards of pass, you've got to do more than 50% to have a chance. So that's all.
Well, he played against Jerry's pass defense that denied him the longer completion, so his quarterback had to take the short pass completions that the defense gave up.
Yep.
Yeah, our PNFL quarterbacks are really good at those checkdowns.
All right. Next game up, we have Las Vegas hosting Indianapolis. I'm trying to think how I think the betting, when we did our picks, they went towards Indy, and it was a good call as they took this one 20-10. Mitch.
Man, 2 weeks in a row, Kenny Pickett decided to play some football. After you made so much fun of the Colts offense a few weeks ago, Mark. Kenny Pickett has been on fire. Another 300-plus game, winning player of the game, lead the team to a double-digit victory, and keeping those playoff hopes extremely, extremely alive for Indianapolis. So good job for Tim and team out there.
All right. Dean.
Yeah, this was a pretty solid win for Indianapolis, an important one, staying not too far behind the Jets in the AFC East. The overall yards by the two teams gained was pretty similar, but Indianapolis was a little bit better at translating those yardage into points. And I see that the Raiders have a different quarterback starting. I'm not sure what's going on there. It seems like when a team struggles, one of the things that teams will often do is, well, let's try someone else at quarterback. And I've seen teams trying 3 or 4 more quarterbacks per season, and I think a lot of times maybe that, and I've been guilty of doing this in the past too, but changing the quarterback may not be the answer. Maybe something in the way the game plans and profiles are being put together might be the direction that teams need to go in.
All right. Shuggy.
Yeah, I want to know how old the Vegas coach is. Okay? I mean, the guy's never at the Discord. Friday night. Yeah, he's never at Friday Night Lights. I mean, is he like in his 30s and he has like a love life or something?
I didn't expect you to go there on that one.
Sorry about that. I was singing in my hair and I got unplugged. But anyway, come on. We got the rest of us old guys there. We got nothing to do on a Friday night. I mean, come on.
I think he's closer to our age, so he's not a mystery. I know I'm not going to get into the tinfoil hat stuff, but, people speculate on why we never hear from Thomas. But, no, Neil is for real, but he's just not really into the social media stuff.
Let's go. Come on, Neil.
Well, that's just like with Thomas. He's the same way. So, they don't want to do it. You got to give them their respect. So, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. Next game up, we have, and actually this one was a little bit closer than I thought, but the result, we kind of figured what the result was going to be. We have Philadelphia hosting Jacksonville, and Philly is definitely on a roll as they took this one 36-27. Mitch.
Yeah, this is interesting. Philadelphia winning the game, continuing to have their strong start to the season. Again, showing if you're picking the proper plays, it really doesn't matter about that completion percentage because at 52% completion percentage for Philadelphia, they actually raised their season average to 49%, and I think they're 8-2 or whatever it is. I can't remember, but it's about picking the proper plays, not just trying to generate a certain amount of stats. But nice job by Jacksonville to keep it close. They definitely lit the airways up as well, and but again, couldn't find enough to get that victory.
All right, Dean.
Yeah, if you told me that one of the teams would get 357 yards of passing and the other one only 233, given all those first-round picks that is in Philadelphia's defensive backfield, I would say they would have given up to 233. No, they gave up to 357. But part of the reason why Jacksonville didn't win this game is their running game got destroyed by the Philadelphia defense. They ran 22 times for 44 yards, just 2 yards per carry, while the Eagles were running 27 times for 136 yards. That's 5 yards per carry, and that makes a big difference. And when you run the ball that well, you can have your quarterback go 14 or 27 and throw 3 touchdown passes, despite only completing 52%. So, again, balance and a good running game makes a big difference for offense. And, having your quarterback go out and throw 46 passes, it did get the Jacksonville 3 touchdowns, which helps, but it also got them the loss.
All right. What do you want to add to that, Shuggy?
Hey, Mark, isn't it you that doesn't like the Eagles?
It's not that I don't like the Eagles. I just like talking shit on the Eagles.
Okay, yeah, well, I like to talk shit.
That's my fellow Michigander, so I got to give him crap.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, I'll just give him crap just in general.
There you go.
Everything about the Eagles I don't like. Even their NFL team, even this PNFL team, and I don't like the Eagles. Plus, they beat me that last week, and so, yeah, too bad they won.
Okay, another rivalry going on over there. There we go. All right, next up we have Pittsburgh hosting L.A. This one, I don't know if you want to call this a defensive strategy, a defensive game or not, but definitely was low scoring as Pittsburgh took this one 13-6. Dean.
It was a boring game. I think when we watched this, we got into talking about everything but this game during the time of Discord. I mean, what did these two teams leave their offenses on the bus or the team airplane or whatever they used to arrive at the stadium? Because you could say it's good defense, but they didn't play offense very well. Neither of the teams ran for 100 yards. Neither of the teams passed for 250 yards. Neither of the teams threw a single touchdown pass. As a matter of fact, there was only one touchdown scored in the game by one of Pittsburgh's running backs. So I guess if you like defense, you like this game, but for most of the rest of us, this game was a snooze fest.
All right, Mitch.
Yeah, it was an interesting game for sure. As Dean just said, one of the highlights of the week. Very exciting. No, I think the thing stands out to me is that Pittsburgh running game, only 1.9 yards a carry. Their quarterback struggled running the ball, 7 carries, 0 yards. Yet he had a long run of 12. So I guess he had a bunch of losses too. But anyway, but yeah, definitely not the most TV-friendly game. But Pittsburgh won the tough one, and it definitely helps create a big log jam in the AFC West.
Yep. Shuggy.
Yeah, what do you guys are always complaining about defensive battles being boring? Okay, I mean, there's a lot of games where a lot of points are scored, and they're boring as hell because only one team does all the scoring. But when you get these tough games where, the game's always on balance, okay, I mean those aren't boring games. I mean, they're kind of exciting because the game's staying right within either team can win. And then one thing about LA, he's always talking about tanking, and I was thinking, like, what the heck, tanking? I was expecting him to put in a running game to just kind of tank over everybody, like run over everybody like a tank. But I guess he kind of tanked this game this week.
Okay. Well, I think with the defensive strategy, I think what we like to see, we want to see the scoring. So,
yeah.
And while you said that, it's lopsided where one team is scoring a whole bunch and the other one's not, I kind of prefer seeing teams going back and forth, battling, good, big, exciting plays and that type of stuff. But sometimes the defensive struggles can be kind of interesting too, but I kind of like watching them run them up.
And I'll say this too, Mark. I want to give some kudos to Dean for trying his best to make games entertaining that he's in, having the worst pass and rush defense in the league. He really tries his best to keep those games entertaining and high scoring. So we appreciate that, Dean.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay. No comment on that one, Dean?
Oh, I'm glad that someone finds it entertaining.
All right.
It's like what Howard Stern used to say. He says, "I give you a reason to live."
There you go.
So I'm providing important therapy for some people.
Okay. Next game up, we have the Houston Oilers taking on the Denver Broncos. And the player of the game that is also our player of the week is Baker Mayfield, as Houston took this one 24-10. Dean.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago, I gave Mitch some good trash talk, and I rewrote the last line of the Houston Oilers song to Houston Oilers 2-5. But, I give them some credit. They've won 3 weeks in a row now and climbed back into that playoff race. They're a game behind the team that leads the division. There's 4 teams in the AFC West that are either 5-5 or 6-4. So, and there's 6 teams in the AFC. So, Houston is back in that race. And how did they do this? Well, not just Baker Mayfield being the player of the game, going 20 for 32 and throwing 3 touchdown passes, but they ran the ball pretty well as well. They ran the ball for 95 yards. It's an average 3.5. That's a little on the low side, but it was enough to get the job done and keep the defense honest enough to not just shut down Houston's passing game. And they played very solid defense and held Denver to just 10 points. And, this is the kind of win that Jerry would be happy to have his Washington team win. And it's gets the Oilers back to 5-5 in the playoff race.
All right. Shuggy, what do you got?
This was a fun game to watch. Both coaches were in the Discord, and it's always good when you have both coaches there in the Discord, so you can talk about the game, listen to them, have Mitch. Well, Mitch does it for every game. He just punches all the sound effects. You got that Houston Oilers song playing every game, every first down. But it's good to have everybody in there, and it was kind of an upset in my mind. I thought Denver was probably going to win this game. So good job on that one. Good win.
All right.
And then you always mark the song and you say, Houston Oilers, they're all gay.
Well, I wasn't going to say that on the podcast. I was going to say they were all happy.
Hey.
And no one would understand what I meant.
Hey, Shuggy, it's okay. It's okay.
Gaming. You did. Gaming sound. Look it up in the dictionary.
Yeah, because we talk about Eminem, everyone's gay, like happy.
Right. Yeah.
Coach, what do you got? How'd your team talk about your team's win?
Sure. Well, just when everybody was having fun putting dirt on the grave of the Oilers, like the Undertaker, we rise back up, and we've gotten ourselves right back in the middle of this playoff race, just as I told you guys to calm down, and so, it was a good win, good defense, much better defense this time around versus Denver than a few weeks ago. But we'll take the win, and, we play Las Vegas this week, so Shuggy, likely it'll just be me on the on the stream.
We're gonna have to make a sound effect for the Raiders, so they can be represented.
Well, I think it's just the crickets, right?
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Next one up, we have San Francisco hosting Atlanta. And Charlie's definitely been on a roll as they took this one 23-10. Mitch.
This, actually wasn't, too bad of a game for Atlanta defensively. I mean, they were able to keep the 49ers under 350 yards, which, that's been tough for Atlanta, but they just couldn't get, they allow too much efficiency. 70% completion, 6.3 yards a run for San Francisco, just absolutely ate them up. I will say, though, Atlanta did find a running game this week. So I don't know what happened to 49ers rushing defense, but Atlanta couldn't pass the ball to save their life, but they did run it for 170 and 6.1. So maybe they can balance that out and find a few wins for the end of the season.
All right. Shuggy.
Yeah, I want to know why the commissioner doesn't show up. He shows up every now and then, but you got to come out and represent your team. 49ers, you're on a roll. Come on, boss. Get out there. Show up on Discord.
Yep. Dean.
I think Charlie scouted and saw the only part of my team that was looking somewhat effective, scoring some points and racking up yards in the passing in the last couple of weeks, and put some effort into stopping that. And I think that's how the running game kind of came back to life, because that appears to be the only thing that was working. And unfortunately, it didn't lead to much scoring. So I'm surprised that the 49ers didn't score more than they did against my defense. At 23, it looks like almost a respectable defensive performance, but still not when you score 10 points.
Yeah. Well, next game up in the moral victory column, which there really isn't, you had Seattle hosting Minnesota, which was projected to be I think it was a 13.5 point spread or a 14.5 point spread. Looked like it was going to start that way, but Seattle kept it close, fought back and forth, but in the end, Minnesota ended up taking this one 21-14. Mitch.
Oh, man, I tell you, as a lifelong Minnesota PNFL supporter, this is just disappointing to watch. I mean, come on, Barney. You allowed Seattle to hang in this game. Oh my gosh, that was gut-wrenching watching this. Neither team really played great offense. I mean, both teams had less than 300 yards. They were efficient in passing, but neither one really got the ball down the field for any big plays. And at the end, Minnesota was able to squeak it out. But, I'll put this one up to a good defensive match, because there was efficiency on offenses, but neither defense would really let the other team break through. Not even a field goal attempt in this game, which is odd. But anyway, that's my thoughts.
Dean.
Well, I think it's fair to give the Seahawks credit for showing up and playing a competitive game. And as much as you might, as a cheerleader, think that the Vikings are so good, and even I've started saying, well, I'm not going to say it because probably have to drink for that too. But what I would say is that even very dominant teams have an off week occasionally. So it might be unreasonable to expect that the Vikings are going to win by 2 or 3 touchdowns every week. So I don't really criticize them or fault them. And even Rich was talking trash about Minnesota while we were watching the game, being here's the team that's leading in the NFC and they can barely put away Seattle. So I say the message is give some respect to the Seahawks for playing tough and equally respect the Vikings for still winning the game and staying on track in their run to winning the playoffs. I mean, winning the division and maybe home field throughout the playoffs.
All right. Chuggy.
Well, I don't know. Minnesota won again. But the big takeaway from that game is when we were all talking about wearing costumes or something, and then Barney went and told everybody that you guys aren't gonna catch me wearing anything. And it's like, oh God, Barney, that's a bad graphic for everybody. All right, but Minnesota kept rolling. What can you say? I mean, it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. It looked like it was going to be over early, but we managed to battle back. But there's a couple mistakes that were made. We scored a touchdown and turned around and gave them a long kick return to shorten the field for them, and they ended up, scoring again. But again, it was a moral victory, but that's not the one that we really wanted. We wanted the one that was that counts in the standings. So back to work again. Last game up for the week, we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Cardinals. Very close game, very tight game, very entertaining game. But in the end, Chicago squeaked this one out 28-27. Dean.
Yeah, this was a close game, and if I remember, the issue was that some question whether Green Bay should have gone for 2 points to tie up the game. Green Bay definitely did some things here and didn't quite do enough of them. Maybe a 2-point conversion might have helped to tie this game and possibly beat Chicago again like they did last season. But I guess we're still in doubt of how strong this Cardinals team is going to be, and there appears to be even some doubt as to whether or not they'll make the playoffs. You would think they would, but anything can happen at this point. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Mitch.
Yeah, Green Bay played a really, really strong game. One of their better games of the season. Just a hair short, very entertaining. The thing here, though, is one of those situations where, the 2-point conversion. I know there's a lot of teams that seem to want to leverage those a lot more now, but you got to be careful because Chicago almost blew it for them. They missed one 2-point conversion. But they were able to get a second one that gave them their 28. But if they'd had that missed 2-point conversion and not made up for it, we're talking about a tie game going into overtime versus that 28-27 win. So, be careful with all those 2-point conversion tries out there. Eventually, it's going to catch in the rear ends.
Or even if they miss the other one, they lose the game by 1 point.
That's right, because they missed the field goal.
Yep. Shuggy, talk about your team this week, Coach.
Well, it was a rough week. Okay, one of the best things on Discord is that you get to hear Rich. Rich is kind of like the guy that looks at team standards, okay, and tries to have everybody raise their standard with their profiles, calling timeouts at the right time, going for 2 at the right time, and a lot of these little things in the game. And so it's really cool and interesting. And one of the things he did, and other guys have told me this before, was you have to start simming games, and instead of making plays, okay, spend time simming. Well, I sim this week. It is a painful experience. I mean, my gosh. Of course, I haven't done it before, so I didn't know how to sim. Okay, and then I don't have one of these things where you just like turn the computer on and wake up in the morning and you sim like 5,000 games. So I was kind of having to do it game by game. But there is something to simming. Okay, and so hopefully I can get something done for this week as far as that goes. But I do want to say something. Okay, I you know Rich is kind of critical of the fact that I didn't have it programmed to go for two, but there was still a heck of a lot of time left because I rewatched the game, and I think and I had chances, okay, to get that field goal, okay, which I would have needed to win the game anyway. So I mean, if I had gone for two, yeah, okay, I would have tied it, but I still would have had to get, that other field goal, or and assuming that I would stop, Chicago. So I don't know. I don't know as far as going for two. I usually reserve that for like at the last 2 minutes or something when the game's on the line, and I think I tied it up just inside with 5 minutes to go or something like that, or scored that touchdown that they were talking about. So anyway, yeah, well, I've had a lot of tough losses this season. What can I say? We'll see if we can do better this week.
All
So
right.
yeah.
All right. So we have wrapped up this week's games. We're going to move over into our middle segment. This is something that we haven't done all season because we was covering the PCFL, but we're going to do the middle segment here. We're going to talk about the state of the league at this point. We're going to look at the standings currently in the AFC side. We have the Jets leading at 9-1, Indy at 7-3, New England 4-6, Jacksonville 3-7. In the West, we have Pittsburgh at 6-4, LA at 6-4, Denver at 6-4, Houston at 5-5, and Vegas at 1-9. Over on the NFC side, we have Philly at 8-2, Washington 7-3, Atlanta 1-9, the New York Giants at 1-9, and in the West we have Minnesota at 8-2, San Francisco 7-3, Chicago 6-4, Seattle 3-7, and Green Bay at 2-8. So, yes, I know, but guess what, Shuggy? We're not looking at the Sacco Bowl right now, so we're good. We just
Yeah, we are for our division.
Yeah, for our division, yeah. But no, yeah, for our division, yeah. But for the conference, no. And for the league, no. So, but we're going to talk a little bit about the what's going on in the league. And I know Mitch had mentioned something in pre-show about about some of the stats. So I'm going to go ahead and let Mitch jump in there and basically open it up. You guys want to talk about the standings or talk about the stats? Mitch, what's stood out with you so far this season?
Hi, everybody. Mitch Grawl. I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener.
All right. Welcome, first-time caller.
Yeah, wanted to share some things that stand out to me about the running game in this league. I was looking here prior to the show, just kind of scrolling through. I mean, I haven't looked at the season stats very closely this year, to the surprise probably of many of you all. But it just kind of jumped out at me here that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 teams right now that are averaging less than 4 yards per carry. And then there's another team, a couple of teams, one's at 4.0, one at 4.1. So basically like half the league right now is averaging 4.1 or fewer yards per carry in rushing, which seems like really low. And we only have one team even at 5. That's New York. They're at 5.0 and Denver 4.9. But man, that's pretty low. And so while we've been on the show here tonight, I went and looked back last couple of years to see, all right, have I just not been paying attention very closely to this, or is this an anomaly or not? And so I went back and looked at last year, and we had about 3 teams that finished the year under 4 yards per carry, which, I don't think that's not, it's half of what it is right now. But then a few others that were, very, very low 4s. But then 2 years ago, it kind of looks like this year, where I think there was like 5 teams or so with less than 3 yards, or less than 4 yards a carry, and a few others at 4.1. So, it, I don't know, it just kind of stands out to me like, man alive, no wonder everybody just says, screw it, we'll just pass the ball every down because apparently, I don't know, it's a team, I don't know the reason why, because I haven't dug into it this much. I know there's been a lot of talk on the chat boards about wanting to adjust, some of the categories for rushing and when they're called and all that kind of stuff. But I know it could be. I know even like my team this year, we're only averaging 4.3 yards a carry, which I think is usually pretty low for me. I typically have one of the better rushing teams in the league, but even last year 4.4, which is not all that great. And looking at even the previous year to that, I was Kansas City. I was 4.9. So, 2 years ago, 4.9, then 4.4, now 4.3. I don't know. So maybe it's just the play calls. I've got to, look at types of plays I'm calling or what. But I don't know. That's just jumped out at me as that. I don't know if it's a problem, but I think it definitely deserves some discussion of why. Why is the effectiveness of the running game, not that it's disappeared, but why is the effectiveness of the running game not what you would think it should be? So that's where I'll start out, Mark. That was kind of was on my mind to kind of get the ball rolling here in the second segment.
Okay. Maybe we should raise the question, is it the ineffectiveness of the running game or the effectiveness of running defense or some of both?
Yeah.
Look just below that in the season standings at the team rushing opponents.
Yep.
Denver is only allowing 2.8 yards per carry. At the very bottom, Green Bay is allowing 5.4 and Atlanta is allowing 5.2. The only teams that allow more than 4 yards per carry. And then all the other teams in between are most of the other teams are in the fours, but Chicago is holding teams to 3.8. Indianapolis is holding teams to 3.8. The Chargers are holding teams to 3.5. Washington is holding teams to 3.1, and I said Denver at 2.8. So those teams are playing pretty good run defense, and that might be bringing down those running game stats for the offenses a bit too. We could always use to look at whether or not maybe I know there is a tendency, and then that needs to happen to kind of tone down the ratings a bit and not have the draft pools be too deep. But I think when the first couple running backs drafted in the draft are coming out with like max 79 acceleration as running backs, that might have something to do with this. Lower acceleration means these running backs are not going to explode as much when they hit the hole, and that 6-yard carry on a middle run suddenly turns to 3 yards because they get tackled sooner. And I think part of this is defense. I think part of this is our running backs are just a little bit too low to where they should be in their speed and acceleration, and maybe even the agility as well.
That could be part of it. Or, also, do we have too many defensive backs, particularly cornerbacks, that have too much strength? I think that's something that, that could be part of it, because I know one of the big complaints I'll hear a lot on our Discord streams are people frustrated with, man alive, I can't break the corner on these sweeps anymore. I can't break the corner.
You may be talking about safeties, but not only that, maybe part of the issue is most of our linebackers are like 82, 83 strength.
Yeah.
And off tackle runs and middle runs, and the linebackers can just pancake the running backs as much as they do, because even our best running backs are only 83 strength, and if the defensive players have like the linebackers have as much strength, that probably, I'm not sure about this, but that probably means the linebackers kind of have like a sort of an advantage in that the ratings being equal. Whereas you look at the speed ratings between cornerbacks and wide receivers, the cornerbacks are 1 or 2 points lower, and they still are able to catch up. So maybe our linebackers are a little bit too strong compared to our running backs. That might have to be part of it too.
Well, and I just went back to season 2042. So, I guess that'd be 2 full seasons back, whatever, right? And we had 10 teams that year that averaged 4.5 yards a carry. So I mean that's over half the league, and we only had 2 teams that year that averaged less than 4 yards per carry. And I don't think we've had any major rules to the running game or whatever that would have changed it from then to now. I know that there have been some slight adjustments here and there with the ratings, but this would have been back when a few seasons ago, when we still would have had a lot more people, defenders and running backs maxed out. So,
yeah, and right.
I mean, it's probably a combination of everything from, people aren't calling the same types of play. It could be that folks are just playing defenses much closer to the line of scrimmage because of so many teams that pass the ball short. So when you play a bunch of these short, stack the box defenses to play those short passing games, well, byproduct of that's going to be you're going to stuff the run too, So it might be so I don't know.
And maybe figuring out how to stop the toss sweeps defenses might be doing effectively. Because to compare to the stats that you said what, 10 teams are 4.5 or higher? Right now there's only 3. There's a 4.6, a 4.9, and a 5.0.
Right.
And else is below 4.5.
And like I said, almost half the league's under 4.1. So anyway, like I said, I don't have any solutions. I don't have any any definitive, here's the problem, everybody. We need to go to the forum and argue for 3 weeks and then do nothing about it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's one way to improve the rushing totals in this league and the averages. Okay, and that would be to ask Dean, how he approaches this defensive play. I would say to ask me, but I'm just way too busy. But I'm sure Dean would give you all the teams the advice on how they can allow more rushing yards, and then the whole league average can go up.
Well, I think I know I think I actually have an answer to that one, but I'll keep it to myself. I have an answer to both you and Atlanta's run defense woes, but I'll just keep them to myself because
tell us. Tell us. We want to know.
I think it could be something to do with the amount of pressure packages y'all have on early downs, but I'll leave it at that. So.
No, I don't.
I just don't like the rubber uniforms that my guys are wearing because it seems like they just bounce off all the running backs.
I don't use many pressure packages. I think I'm near the bottom in sacks.
Yeah. Maybe the players just aren't getting to the spot. I don't know.
All right.
To me, it's all just ebb and flow. I mean, everyone, it's like, everything just kind of goes in cycles. I mean, even in real football, right? Sometimes, it's all passing, and all of a sudden now that you start to see teams, doing more running, being more successful, with the run game. And then it'll switch around as teams, stop the run, and then they start passing or whatever. And then, we got to stop the pass. Because the ratings aren't any different, right? So it just has to be, how guys are approaching the game.
Yeah, something tells me it is something to do more with the type of play or plays that folks are calling on defense. As I'm thinking more about it, I think it has more to do with how people are playing the short pass and it's just running into stopping the run. But I don't know. maybe if teams pass the ball down the field more, maybe that would change.
Well, we'll see what happens in the final weeks of the season to see if they do. But definitely a good segment there, guys. We're gonna pivot over to our week 11 games, and I think we could basically call this the Pick'em week because I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pick'em games. One game with a 10.5 point spread, one with 4.5, one with 8.5, and one with 3.5. So on the books, it looks like it's going to be a very competitive week of football coming up. So let's go ahead and jump right into this with the first game on the list. As you guys know, we also have our with all these pick'em games, it should be pretty easy to have you guys come with your lead pipe blocks. I already see the one that I'm going to go with. So, but yeah, starting off with the first game of Week 11, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the New England Patriots. We're going to start with Mitch.
Oh man, what a big game here! Mox has got to win to even keep a sniff at the playoffs. Jacksonville. You know what? I'm going to go with Mox, and I'm going to say New England wins this game. They're going to find a way to get back on the winning track.
All right, Dean.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think New England will win this game on the road, and maybe a tough win, but I think they'll do it and stay somewhat. I'm not sure if as Rich pointed out, with how tough the rest of the schedule is, I'm not sure if they're really in the playoff race. Mathematically, yes, but you at least want to stay in it and maybe have a chance of pulling off a couple upsets. They'll win this week.
All right. Shuggy.
Yeah, I want to tie. I'm not going to – these are two of my favorite guys on Discord. I get to know them both. I mean, to pick them, I'm not going to super overanalyze this. I just think I want to tie.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Mox this week. I think Mox is gonna pull this one off. Next game up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders hosting the Houston Oilers, and they are giving the Oilers 10.5. Dean.
Yeah, I think the momentum continues, and I think even though they're playing at Las Vegas, I think the Oilers win this game and probably even cover the spread.
All right. Shuggy.
Well, we have this thing on Discord. I talk about it a lot, but hell, guys, Friday nights are a hell of a lot of fun. You get to know everybody in the league and everything, and we all always have a good laugh, especially at Mitch. But, I guess because the Raiders never show up, Neil, okay, we kind of have this unspoken rule that if there's one coach there and the other guy doesn't show, then we all just kind of root for the guy that's there. So as painful as it is, I'm going to have to root for Mitch this week. So, yeah, okay, I'll take the Oilers.
All right.
We need to get the sound effects on the show, Mark. I want to hit the Oilers song, but anyway.
I'll have to go find it.
I have an anxiety. I got anxiety. I'm trying to find the song button. But.
Yeah, Houston Oilers, they're all gay.
Like happy. All right. Next game up, we have the.
And I predict Houston win as well, Mark.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Duh.
Okay.
Next game up, we have the Denver Broncos hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are giving the Steelers 4.5. Shuggy.
Oh, geez, this is a tough one to pick, isn't it? Wow. I'm gonna take the Broncos on this one.
All right,
So
Mitch.
hopefully those guys will be
Okay.
Yeah. This one here should be a tough, I think, defensive battle. Pittsburgh is got the 2 wins in a row. The thing that stands out to me is that Pittsburgh 6-0 at home, absolutely lights out there at Heinz Field. 0-4 on the road. And this game is not only on the road, it's at Mile High. So they're going to have all kinds of issues with oxygen. So I'm going to take Denver this week.
All right. Dean.
Yeah, playing at home and rebounding from last week, Denver is going to win this game.
Not so fast. I'm going with Pittsburgh this week to take the victory and with the spread. Next game up, we have the New York Jets hosting the LA Chargers. They are giving the Jets 8.5. Mitch.
Let's go with the Jets because I need the Chargers to lose.
Oh.
That's my in-depth analysis this week.
All right. Dean.
You know, the Chargers scored 6 points last week. I believe it was 2 field goals. And they're playing against pretty solid pass defense and run defense with the Jets. And I'm not only going to call for the Jets to win this game, but I'm going to put a lead pipe lock on it. And normally you'd think that's an easy thing to do, but this season, not necessarily. But I'm going to say lead pipe lock, Jets win.
All right. Chuggy.
No way, Dean. Chargers are going to win this game, flat out. I mean, not even counting the points. Okay, he's tanking. All right, but the kind of tank I'm talking about is the kind that's going to mow over people. I got full confidence in the Chargers. They're going to win this game.
Steve wins when he says he's tanking.
That's what I mean. He's got to pull out a real tank this time.
This is a hard one. I got to go with my team, Jets. Joe, go to Jets. Oh, and I forgot my lead pipe lock. I'm using the Steelers for my lead pipe lock this week. So I forgot to get that one out there. Next game up is our second pick'em of the week. We have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New York Giants. Shuggy, we're going to start with you.
Wow. Okay. Well, I got to go with my buddy up there that lives up in the Northwest. I'm going to go with Dean on this one.
All right. Mitch.
Yeah, this will be interesting because the Giants can't score and the Falcons can't stop anybody. So it'll be interesting to see which of these two teams, what happens. The game is in Atlanta, and New York is 0-4 on the road. But then again, Atlanta is 0-4 at home. Screw it. I'll take Atlanta. I'll take Atlanta.
All right. Coach, what do you got?
Yeah, y'all should be so happy that you get to watch the Soccer Bowl twice this season.
Okay.
I think the home team will find a way to score a few more points.
Yeah, I think the home field advantage is going to put you over the top, and Atlanta's going to take this one. Next game up, we have the Chicago Cardinals taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. This is they're giving the Cardinals a 3.5 point spread. Dean.
Yeah, not so fast. The Eagles are going to win this game. I'm not going to say by a huge score, but they're going to do it with authority. Let's put it that way. The game will not be in doubt.
All right. Chuggy.
Well, as you can tell, I'm not the most statistical person on these picks. Yeah. I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one. I just can't root for the Eagles. Sorry.
Mitch.
Yeah, I'll go with the Eagles just because Chicago just has not been Chicago all year long, and that could change this week, but I think Philadelphia will win.
Just threw up in my mouth a little bit again. Eagles. until Chicago shows up. I hate to say that. Where's my liquor at? Hold up. Okay, I got to take a shot for that one. Hold on. Eagles. Anyway, next game. The last three games are all pick'em games, so this is definitely going to be interesting. With the first one up, we have the Washington Redskins taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Shuggy, we're going to let you start this one off.
Oh, definitely the Redskins. Okay, I mean every time, every night every Friday when we're on Discord, you can hear the ambulances driving across outside of Barney's house. Okay, there in Chicago. Okay, this time those ambulances are going to be driving all the way down to Washington D.C. to pick up his wounded.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm going with the Redskins.
Okay, Mitch.
Even though the Redskins never show up, hopefully he will. Hopefully Jerry will get.
Are you putting a lead pipe lock on that?
Oh no, I'm saving that.
Mitch.
I am going to go with Minnesota, and
Who would
if
have
Minnesota
guessed?
wins and Philadelphia wins, that's going to be a 2-game lead for the Eagles in that NFC East, and that could be a problem for Jerry and his normal lock on that division. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Dean.
You know, Mitch, I'm totally shocked that you're picking Minnesota in this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a total shocker. But no, I agree. The visiting team is going to outmatch the Redskins a bit here, and may not be an overwhelming win, but it'll be a solid win, and the Vikings will win.
Yeah, I got to go with the Vikings on this one as well. Ugh. Yeah, give me one of those pom-poms, Mitch. Next,
I thought you were going to say that so fast.
No, not this time. Next game up, as we come to our final two, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Dean.
Yeah, this one I think really is a pick'em, and again, we talk about which 49ers team is going to show up, but you can equally say which Colts team is going to show up. But, you know, I think the edge is that the Colts are playing at home, and they're going to win. This could be won by 1 or 2 points, but I think Indianapolis wins.
All right. Shiggy.
Well, it all depends on which coach shows up to Discord. That's who I'll be rooting for. I think the Colts will win this one, mainly because I want to get out of the bottom of the division.
Get out of the cellar.
I need teams to start losing ahead of me.
Yeah. All right, Mitch.
Yeah, looking at this game here, man, 7-3 versus 7-3. This is really the game of the week. You know, both teams got same number of points scored. San Francisco does play better defense, and the one thing about defense is it typically travels. So I'm going to take San Francisco in this game.
All right. I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I'm taking the Colts for this game to take that victory. So, last game up for Week 11. It is in Green Bay as you have the Packers hosting the Seahawks. Mitch.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we do not play this game live on Discord just to save everybody from having to watch this thing. We'll skip over it and just have Rich post it. Yeah. No, this one should be fun. This one should be fun. You know what? I picked Green Bay to actually upset Chicago last week, and dadgummit, you almost did it. You almost did it there, Shuggy. And so, I'm going to put a lead pipe lock on this one this week, and I'm going to say Green Bay is going to win and even up the records with Seattle in the bottom of the NFC West.
Okay, Dean.
Right.
Yeah, if the Packers want to get out of fifth place, they have it within their power to do it right here in this game. And And again, I think it's fair that this has been designated a pick'em game by Rich's Sportsbook. And I think the home team will, again, have the edge here, just like the last game. I think the Packers will do enough things to win this game.
All righty. Chucky.
Yeah, let's just get this started right now. Of course, I'm gonna put the lead pipe lock on this game. I'm gonna smash you, man. Okay, you don't think that the problems that you had on your computer were an accident? I'm just kind of pissed off that the rest of the guys in the league stepped up to help you fix the problem. I went through a lot of trouble to create that problem so you couldn't prepare for this game. I mean, like, what the heck? I mean, come on, Mark. Let's do some war, man. Let's battle this sucker.
Okay.
I'm gonna sim like crazy this week.
You know what?
And in those terms, and when Shuggy says sim like crazy, he actually might do 10 sims.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, man, no, I did way too much of that, man. I did way more than
I'm going to tell you right now, you know, he can talk all of his mess. He can talk all of his smack. The bottom line is you're in the cellar. You're going to stay in the cellar. You are going to lose. Okay. So we're coming while you're wearing your little cheese hats, we're coming in from the Pacific Northwest with the bread. We're making grilled cheese. We're going to fry you guys up, cook you guys up, and then be done with you. You're done. It's a wrap. Go ahead. Look, Rich.
We are doing all that.
Rich, go ahead and put the win in our column because we've already got this. You know what? I'm going to even reach out to my arch nemesis that's up the road from me in Philly and get some insight from Philly. Well, you know what? I don't even need to do that. You know what? I'm not even going to get Philly involved in this because I don't need Philly to help me deal with you. You're done. You're
come
done.
On, man. You got to get him. You got to get some help from Philly. Then
no, you're done. You're done. You're done. Like Ice Cube says, cook him like bacon. Cook him like bacon. You're done.
Oh my gosh, we have spent way too much time on a game between two teams for 5 combined wins, guys. Come on.
Don't hate. Leave us to our realm, okay?
Yeah.
Leave be. All right, real quick, as we wrap up, we're going to switch over to the PCFL real quick. We're in the middle of doing our 4 stars, doing our recruiting for the 4 stars. So, Dean, give us a quick rundown of where we're at right now before we wrap it up.
Yeah, this is the second week of recruiting where we're focused on the 4-star players, and I think there's like 36 of them. And I think 36, 37, and about 16 of them have been signed. Most of the teams active have spent most of their points or have bid out most of their points, so they're kind of getting close to being maxed out. And we have a couple teams that have some remaining points that have a chance to kind of blow up some of our recruiting boards. And I noticed a lot of interesting recruiting strategies going on where teams are backing off of recruiting some players and switching to others. And I notice this tendency of the lower priced players that are attracting lower bids are getting bid up. And this happened with the 5-star recruits as well. And I think by the time we sign all these 4-star recruits, next week we'll recruit 3-star players, which is the largest group of players, because it's kind of graded on a bell curve where the largest group of players are 3 stars and there's fewer 2 and 4 stars, and then you get smaller numbers of 1 and 5-star players at the opposite ends. So the teams will have spent arguably way too much on 4 and 5-star, what are considered blue chip players. And for those teams that didn't overspend, they will probably easily get their pick of who they want among the 3-star players. And some of those guys are still pretty good, even though they're 3-star players. So the whole process is interesting. And for those of you that are not involved, you might want to jump in and take a team. Otherwise, that's what's going on. After recruiting is done, we'll go to training camp.
All right. Okay, so as we wrapping this show up, we're over an hour, but I think it was very entertaining. A lot of information out there, lot of joking going on to try to liven it up a little bit. But as we take our
game.
huh.
Talking about our
Look. Just go. Look, go ahead and start your sim. Okay, you have a whole week to do your sims. Go ahead and get it on out. Get it all out of your system.
I like how you said that, Mark. Start your sim. That's about all I think.
Yeah. Start your sim, singular.
That's all I need.
There you go. Start your sim, singular.
Sim exhibition game against my first team.
As we go around the table one last time, Shuggy, any final words you got before we wrap this up?
Yeah, this has been fun. But, guys, I know I've said this a lot during the time, but these Friday night things are pretty fun. Okay? You get to know all the other coaches in the league, get to have a laugh and stuff like that. And, hell, there's been a couple of times, I think, where we stayed about 2 hours after it was over talking about how we're going to save the world, which I was kind of enjoying to do that too. So anyway, yeah, I would hope you guys would get out there and get to know each other more.
All right. Dean.
Yeah, I think at the end of a couple of those discussions when we talk about how we're going to save the world, I think we kind of ended on the realization that maybe the world is doomed, but the PNFL is not. And we'll have some good games this week, and it's expected there'll be quite a few good ones because 5 of them are pick'ems. So maybe that indicates that these games are going to be close, and maybe we'll have some really good games to watch on Friday night in Discord. So, maybe while the entire planet is burning, we can enjoy some football.
There we go. And again, I want to say one more time, happy Veterans Day to all those vets out there. And for those that, if you haven't served, but you know someone who has, make sure that even though it'll be after Veterans Day, give us this week and just tell them you see a vet, thank a vet, and thank you for your service. Mitch, any final words for you to take us home?
Yeah, speaking of Friday Night Lights this week, I know that I've had to delay some of the starts, and I know that Dean's had to pick up on a few weeks. So thanks, Dean, for picking up a few of those weeks there. This week, we're actually going to do the reverse. We will be starting, or I'll be starting, Friday Night Lights early this week. And so, granted, as long as we have some teams with matching PPPs joining in. So I'll be starting Friday Night Lights roughly around 8 p.m. Eastern, so it'll be 5 p.m. Pacific. Honestly, the reason why is because I want to try to get as many of these games played that night as possible, because I need to go to bed and get up early because I'll be going to the Georgia-Tennessee game. So, Dean, I'll be there to cheer on my red and black after that embarrassing loss to Ole Miss this week. But
that may not be a fun occasion for you because the visiting team is going to shock some people this weekend.
They're going to do some things? They're going to do some things.
Yep, they're going to do some things.
Well, let's put it this way. If the Georgia quarterback can't remember which team he needs to throw the ball to, they probably will do some things. But yeah, we'll start around, like I said, around 8 o'clock Friday night. So get your PPPs in a little early Friday or Thursday night so Rich can get some ready for us to play. But other than that, y'all, the only thing left to do now is let's get it.